interesting times. Today we will take you to 2 countries and 4 states. Here are our stories. The Iglesia Ni Cristo and the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation in just 1 week reached out to Hurricane Florence victims in North Carolina, lent a hand to refugees and immigrants in Toronto, Canada, and helped residents of the Queensbridge houses in New York. Meanwhile, in the US Capitol, Bamboo Whispers echoes stories of Mangyan life, love, and legacy. Plus, sweet, savory, salty treats complete the 626 night market experience in Arcadia, California. Hello everyone, I'm Alan Basoyahe bringing you stories from around the globe, and this is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Within a week, the Iglesia Ni Cristo and the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation brought the Aid for Humanity to neighborhoods in the US and Canada, reaching out to Hurricane Florence victims in North Carolina, lending a hand to refugees and immigrants in Toronto, and helping residents of the Queensbridge houses in New York. Here are the reports from our Eagle News correspondents Heather Candless, Salbir Mofti, and Joanne Blanco Soriano.
Here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, about 50 miles from Wrightsville Beach, where Hurricane Florence made landfall, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, in cooperation with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, are distributing hundreds of packages of relief goods to the victims of Hurricane Florence. Though the storm has passed, Hurricane Florence's record-breaking rainfall has transformed local highways into rivers. Flooding, storm debris, and power outages continue to impact local residents.
As I have traveled through many of the counties, it's heartbreaking to see some of the damage. And I think the reason that that it can hurt your heart so much is because you know that there are people for whom life will always be different now. If they suffered either hurricane damage, or in many cases in parts of North Carolina, it was the flooding, it will take quite a long time for them to fully recover, if they ever fully recover. And so for some people, we have to start to talk with them about what a new normal may be for them. Other folks, even here in this neighborhood near where the shelter is, they don't appear to have suffered major damage. And in fact, it almost looks like they're going on with life as normal. And so there is kind of that dichotomy between folks who are going to face a long recovery and those who won't. I think there will almost be 2 types of disaster recovery that will unfold. There were people who had damage more from the hurricane, from high winds, and then we have a lot of people who are still being affected by the flooding. And that flooding damage will be a whole different type of recovery, and that recovery may take a very long time. We have 17 counties in North Carolina right now that have been approved for individual assistance. That will open up an array of disaster help for people who are affected. There are also a number of counties in South Carolina, and there are some counties that will get help for that community infrastructure over separate from the individual assistance. So a large area. All of eastern North Carolina has been affected by Florence.
Well, we're pretty blessed. We didn't have any real damage to the house itself. We had some trees that were blown over, and parts of our fence were blown over, and a swing set that was damaged, and we had to get rid of. But some of our neighbors weren't so lucky. They had their roofs torn up and damaged, water getting inside the house, and ceilings caving in and everything. I mean, just 3 or 4 houses down the block on either side. Plus, there's a lot of flooding, which kind of isolates this area when that happens, so there was very little food in the stores. They're starting to get restocked now, so it's starting to get a little bit better.
We're here to actually pass out care packages to help those who are in need, who lost power, lost some food, and hopefully get them something to help out as while they're trying to recover from the hurricane. And I also wanted my children to also see that the church does so much to help those who are in need, not just those in church, but also our fellow men around the community also to give out and give what we can to help them.
The FYM Foundation and the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ were tasked by the Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, to share the best that they can in order to assist and even provide relief to those who were affected by the recent floodings here in the Carolinas, especially here in Jacksonville and even Wilmington areas. We were mobilized by the church administration that we can give as quick as we can, the best that we can, not only by sharing material things like the care packages, but more so spiritual counselings and guidance, and also prayer for those who were affected by these recent calamities. This is the least that we can do, and especially our care and also concern for them. I know this is not a one-time effort, and this is not only found in one location only. In fact, even in different parts of the states. And if we go across the oceans, there are even relief efforts that were conducted by members all over the world, in Africa, in Asia, in some parts of Europe, and even in Australia, and even in Canada. We are so thankful because the community band together, mobilized by the effort to love one another as God our Lord loves us together with His Son, our Lord Jesus Christ.
From Jacksonville, North Carolina, I am Heather Canlis, and I am one with 25.
The exhibition place in Toronto, Canada, is the biggest entertainment site and prime destinations for trade shows, sporting events, concerts, and more. Although Toronto is considered to have the best entertainment center and business district, some of its poverty-stricken streets tell a different story. Here today, ready to lend a helping hand, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, is holding its International Aid for Humanity.
The Iglesia Ni Cristo, Church of Christ, led by Executive Minister Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, conducts its International Aid for Humanity to fight against poverty in cooperation with its humanitarian arm, the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation.
We have about 4,000 care packages with winter articles, some food that we thought that would be very helpful to that kind of situation. And once we finish helping the people who were able to come, we're going to take the leftover bags and we're going to go through the city. We're going to go through the town and we're going to find these people and we're going to just hand it to them as a gesture of loving our fellow man.
This charitable event will benefit new immigrants, refugees, people living with disabilities, the elderly, men and women, youth communities, and those who are afflicted by economic challenges.
Check donations were handed out by Brother Glycerio Santos, the Iglesia Ni Cristo's internal auditor, to all the shelters who participated in this event.
Yeah, thank you so much for your generous donation to the neighborhood organization. We really appreciate the help to the community. The community is very grateful for your support and really giving back to those in need. It's a very powerful event, and to invite everyone together, I think this is very powerful.
This is something big, really, you know. When you come here and just like you see this kind of crowd and you see the people with this high of feeling here, it means a lot to us. It is a lesson for all of us, you know, just like to attend the Church of Christ, something really special and global, you know, just like globally, to see just like how they organize this event and how they put all the effort to show us just like all of us, we can just like come together and also support, just like whenever we are possible, we can make a difference. And always good to support the people who are in need, you know. First of all, I would like to thank them very much, you know, for just coming today and organizing such an event like this.
Having them approach us and talk to us about the event and being willing to put together kits that encompass so many things that people on the streets need, especially in the cold months of winter, is a fantastic thing, such as socks, mittens, toques, all those kinds of things are things that really are needed in order to help them survive and manage through the winter if they can't find shelter. So that was fantastic to be able to get that invitation to come and know that there's support from the community to be able to help support those in need at that time.
I'm telling you, I am so amazed. Like, I did not expect this. I thought, oh, we're just coming down. Shadi said to come down, you'll get something. And I'm thinking, okay. I didn't really want to come, but when I came, I was really, really touched. And to see how the church is reaching out to the community, I am very much impressed.
I think it's a really great cause. I think it's a very community-driven initiative, and we're happy to be receiving this from them. So we're really grateful.
Church members gave away winter accessories, basic necessities, hygiene kits, and food items for the recipients.
Here in Toronto, there are so many people who are suffering from poverty, and also a significant number of people who are homeless. So approximately here in Toronto, they have about 7,000 bed spaces for people who are without emergency shelter. And usually between 90 to 95% of those bed spaces are being taken up each and every day. So when it comes to this activity, even in a small way, we are reaching out to those people, especially those who are homeless and those perhaps who have just entered into Canada, but they don't have their basic needs. We're going to help them in one way or another so that they in turn may have some kind of aid or assistance when it comes to their immediate necessities. We've also reached out to certain shelters and organizations. They'll be bringing members of their organization to this activity so that they could partake of what the Church of Christ has prepared for them today. So yes, we're looking forward to it. It's just another chapter in the social civic activities of the Iglesia ni Cristo. We do these kinds of activities all throughout the world. So again, this is just another chapter in the good deeds of the church, which of course are based on the teachings of the Bible.
We're here right now here at the Queen Elizabeth building here in downtown Toronto. Currently we have our brethren, some of the organizers that are right now just gathering up, preparing the goods. Now these goods are winter care packages that have been also donated by our brethren inside the Church of Christ from different local congregations throughout the GTA. We even have our brethren who helped as far as Ottawa, Windsor, Montreal, and Beaconsfield.
Here, this is a really huge event to thank the sponsors, the shelters, like the refugee centers and shelters. This is a great opportunity for us, the FYM Foundation, to appreciate their efforts, their hard work, and reaching out to the new immigrants too.
Reporting from the Aid to Humanity event here in Toronto, Canada, I am Sabir Mufti, 1 with 25.
Queensbridge Houses in New York is the largest public housing development in North America. It reached notoriety in rap and hip-hop music due to past residents like Nas and Mobb Deep. The complex opened in 1939 and now houses over 8,000 residents.
I was born and raised in Queensbridge Houses. It was predominantly Italian, Polish, Greek. I remember as a little girl playing with a diverse group of people that lived in the building. As time moved on, more African Americans moved in, Hispanics, but it was always a family unity here in Queensbridge. What I found out from going to meetings throughout the citywide, you have seniors who are on a fixed income, have worked all their lives, retired, but they're on a budget. It's not enough. After you pay your rent, you gotta buy toiletries and things of that nature. You might have a senior that might eat once or twice a day.
As of 2017, 1 in 14 New York City residents live in public housing throughout the 5 boroughs. Several organizations have helped over the years, but today, the Iglesia ni Cristo is providing aid to humanity by giving care packages to residents. In cooperation with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, members of the Iglesia ni Cristo provided over 1,000 parcels of non-perishable food and toiletries, like shampoo, toothbrushes, and toothpaste to the residents. Residents thanked the Iglesia ni Cristo for their generosity.
First of all, I wasn't shocked because you guys were with us on our family day, our annual family day, and you guys came out like in droves, and you were wonderful. So when RJ and Minister JoJo proposed to me that you wanted to do this event today, I was like, hoorah! Thank you, Jesus, because we gotta come together and do things together.
I thank God for y'all, for y'all like family to us, because we all families.
It just feels good to see everybody come out, and you guys, we need this. We need this. We need for everybody to come out more and more, though. You brought out a lot of people today, you know. Thank you.
This is another example of how the Iglesia Ni Cristo's Aid to Humanity program is impacting local communities around the globe. Reporting from Queensbridge in New York, this is Joanne Blanco Soriano, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Heather, Sabir, and Joanne. Up next, in Washington, D.C., Bamboo Whispers echo stories of Mangyan life, love, and legacy. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will return in a moment. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Carving their metaphors on bamboo barks, the Mangyan, an indigenous people in Mindoro, Philippines, share with the world their life, love, and legacy. Eliza Gonzalez Mangletmot with the story.
Rendered into scripts and in 4 languages in the original Hanunuo Mangyan and translated into Filipino, Spanish, and English by poets, the Ambahan collection in Bamboo Whispers captures the world of the Mangyan tribes of Mindoro. Today, the U.S.-Philippine Society, the Philippine Embassy, and the Mangyan Heritage Center will give us a taste of the Ambahan art form discovered with no authorship, making it the Mangyan's gift to humanity.
Putyukan no sakiling umadi diing kataway di magdaging. So we called it Bamboo Whispers because you find the poetry in the woods where the Mangyans would carve poetry on a living tree along the woods. Why? For the passers-by to enjoy. So that's forest graffiti, which I think is so much nicer because they didn't sign their names. They just did it for the pleasure of the next person who passed by.
If there are close to accurate words to use, could you briefly describe to us the beauty and the richness that is the Ambahan?
Oh, wow. Well, what's beautiful about it? Well, first for me, it's because they were written by indigenous people, and most lowlanders, I'll call them, or most urban people look down on indigenous people as being uneducated and their culture being so simple. But the Ambahan, when you read the Ambahan, you will see the depth of their soul and the way they can express themselves. It's just, that's what's beautiful about it.
It kind of blows us away with regard to its beauty, the thinking, the philosophy, the culture it represents, the simplicity, and the lyrical nature of the language as it is translated into Tagalog and English and Spanish.
Padre, no se me apartó. Cuando yo era niño, aún.
You read an Ambahan or a Mangyan poem tonight in Espanol, but it was originally written in Hanunuo Mangyan. But how universal do you think is the theme of the poem that you read, that it communicates to any other cultures, not just the Filipino culture or not just the Mangyan culture?
That's why I selected it. I found in its simplicity, and it was just that beautiful simplicity of how parents pass values and experience to children that to me is universal.
You speak of simplicity that is in the poem, that is in the theme. What simple things can we do to help the Mangyan people preserve this literature, this form of art that speak their culture?
Well, a big first step is the book that is being highlighted here tonight at the Philippine Embassy and by the U.S. Philippine Society. The book is magnificent. It has won this prestigious book award in the Philippines. It's, if I understood it correctly, it's the Magsaysay Award for that particular genre of book. That is a really important first step. We have to go from there.
Well, I think very, very important for one thing is maybe a linkage to existing cultures today, the influences, because we're finding out of different connections from everything from, at least in Asia, from the Polynesian and Indonesian areas to Philippines to the Chinese influence. It's hard to, and when you lose control of the smaller languages or those, you lose maybe the root cultures too, how they describe themselves, how they developed their alphabets, how they got to the point of actually putting it down, that sort of thing, which is sort of common to all, a lot of experiences. But I think it's, I think it's very valuable to keep to supporting that sort of thing. Well, it just shows you how they've gotten along for centuries, how they've endured and how they've prospered and how they celebrated and how they regarded life, nature, and everything else around them. It is. You don't want to lose that, because as I always say, you end up seeing civilizations going like that, and they are small civilizations. You're going to see your own go quick enough. It's vital to keep those connections with all of them.
Today I'm taking home the celebration of indigenous culture. It's a lesson that the Philippines had a strong tribal tradition before the Spanish came. And it's not only a historical artifact, it is also a valuable culture belonging to living people today, and that these communities matter, and kind of the expression of art as empowerment. I think it's absolutely essential to understanding our cultural history, and I write a little bit about how I feel like community is the deepest expression of love and the deepest expression of self. So for any Filipino kind of seeking themselves and trying to understand how to situate themselves in the ethnic and racial fabric of the United States, understanding tribal traditions is absolutely necessary.
Mr. Tades, having read one piece from the Bamboo Whispers, an Ambahan piece, how much has it made you understand the Mangyan people or the Mangyan culture?
Well, I just read one piece, but in the process of selection, I read through some of the pieces, so several pieces, and what really struck me about the Mangyan is how in touch they are with nature and how much family means to them. And I think this is, we all know about the Mangyan, but there are very specific things about their culture that are still undiscovered by their fellow Filipinos.
Do you think this is the same across the hundreds of indigenous people in the Philippines, not just the Mangyan?
Oh, definitely. I think there's still a lot of work to be done. Just learning about these cultures. Not only that, not only to learn about them, but to take pride in them. Because the Mangyan script is the only pre-Hispanic script that exists until now, and I can tell you, I didn't know about that until this presentation.
Mr. Tades, as a Filipino and as someone who is here in the United States, how much of a responsibility do you think it is to involve yourself in promoting literature of an indigenous people like the Mangyan?
It is a very big responsibility. The Central Rizal, Washington, D.C., when it opened last February, so we really made it a commitment to feature the indigenous cultures of the many peoples in the Philippines, because we feel it's very important for our fellow Filipinos here in the United States. So we start with ourselves first before we can even interact with our U.S. friends. But to let our fellow Filipinos know, and realize how rich Filipino culture is. And when you say Filipino culture, it's not just one monolithic entity, but actually a collection of so many diverse and rich traditions and customs.
The Ambahan has been described as a, quote, rarefied and vanishing craft. As a Filipino, or as Filipinos, how do you think could we help stop this from dying?
One, we really have to gotta have the commitment to go out there and talk to our indigenous peoples, help them record and preserve their traditions. So that would require resources on the part of the government, on the part of the private sector. And then what the Mangyan Heritage Center is doing, teaching the next generation of Mangyans, about their script, about their history, so that they'll be able to perpetuate it, by themselves and among themselves. I think those are just some of the basic things that we can do in order to make sure that this lives on for the next generation.
Ambassador, what would be the extent of the embassy's contribution in keeping alive an indigenous people's culture like that of the Mangyan?
Well, definitely the embassy here in Washington, we support this kind of projects, and of course we work very closely with the U.S.-Philippine Society. And so when they bring up something like this to our attention, and we have something like this is a book launch by Mrs. Fansler, immediately, at least when it reaches my desk, we immediately support it. And if we can do something like this, like what happened today, we will do so in many ways. And of course, if there are exhibits, we have a lot of exhibits that we have with our cultural attaché, and she's been doing quite a bit of this. And so our embassy here in Washington, D.C. will do everything to support any kind of cultural activity to promote our culture in the Philippines.
Sir, aside from avenues like this, how else do you think the Philippine representation on this side of the globe could help raise awareness on the plight of the Mangyan people, considered as one of the richness, like you mentioned in your speech, it's considered one of the richest ethnic groups of the Philippines?
Yes. Well, of course, there are many other indigenous peoples in the Philippines, but the Mangyans have always been, and I think one of the most fascinating ones, if I may say so. And there's still 8 tribes that are living in Mindoro now, and certainly we can learn a lot from their culture. And I myself was very impressed with the kind of script that they had, writing it in bamboos and all of that. It's very fascinating to see that. And so I think it's something like this is what is very interesting, and I can see that we have had a very big crowd here today, which it only shows that there is a very strong interest in the Mangyan people in the Philippines.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. The award-winning book Bamboo Whispers gives us a glimpse of the simplicity of Mangyan life, the big and small struggles they face daily, and their fight for survival as a people. From the Philippine Embassy here in Washington, D.C., I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot for Eagle News, 1 with 25.
Thank you, Eliza. Coming up, sweet, savory, salty treats complete the 626 Night Market experience in Arcadia, California. Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition will return shortly. This is Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. I'm Alan Basoyahe. In the mood for some savory, sweet, and salty eats? Our junior correspondents Seth Paras and Arian Andrade take us to the 626 Night Market in Arcadia, California for some satisfying street-style food experience.
In North America, summertime night markets are a popular destination for adventurous foodies. And if you're a foodie that's hangry, then there's a place we found where you can put all your food frustrations to rest. The 626 Night Market in Arcadia, California. Let's taste it!
Sweet, savory, salty. Whatever the desired flavors, the 626 Night Market has food you would expect, and hard to find unique creations that everyone in the family can enjoy.
Why are you here at the 626 Night Market?
We want to give people space to take a break and let them try our best food. We have rain jiao cake, we have surikasa cake, and we have tao jiao drink.
The people, when they come here, what are their favorite dish?
Most people, they order rain jiao cake because this one is really pretty. We have rose one, that's a top seller. Our tao jiao drink is unique. You can find at other place. You only can eat and drink here. So people like it and they want to try it.
Can I taste it? What are you serving at the 626 Night Market?
Today we're serving at Big and Long their potato swirls. We have 4 flavors. We have barbecue, sour cream, garlic, and cheddar. So we wash the potato first, cut the corners so we have an even space, and then we spiral it on a spiral cutter, and then we dip it in a fry mix so it becomes crunchy and crispy. We fry it first, and then we put the powder on the flavor.
Why is the potato swirl so popular? I see everyone having them.
It's part of the 626 experience, so everybody likes the swirl because it's been here since the first day of 626. And they're really like potato chips. Who doesn't like potato chips, you know?
May I taste them?
Good food paired with good company is what makes the night market a satisfying memory of the summer season.
We're serving pad thai, chow mein, pad see ew, fried rice, all the typical simple Thai dishes you would see out there in the market. We do like with chicken and pork skewer and 1 egg rolls, or we can do that separately too. We also sell drinks. Thai tea, Thai iced coffee, the most popular ones at our store that we usually get bought very fast like that.
What is that dish you're holding in your hand right now?
So the dish that I'm holding on my hand right now is the pad thai chicken and pork combo with the 1 egg roll. It's really good. It's the most popular dish out there that gets sold out with a snap of a finger.
Also, can I taste it? You have such a long line at this restaurant. What are you serving?
We are serving the live grilled Maine lobster and garlic noodles. So a lot of people call this the lobster nest.
Why did you choose 626 Night Market as a place to serve food?
This is a great place to showcase what we do because there's a lot of people who come here to get food. So a lot of people really line up for this.
Can you please describe the food that you have in your hands right now?
So again, this is the lobster nest, our most popular item. We start with the live grilled lobster. We fly them out from Maine every day. We split them, we blanch them, and then we grill them with butter. And you have a choice of regular butter or Cajun butter. And then we do have the garlic noodles, which is chow mein and garlic confit with sesame oil and Parmesan cheese.
May I taste it? There's good news for hangry foodies in the Bay Area. 626 Night Market will be opening up at the Alameda County Fairgrounds in Pleasanton, California. Visit www.norcalnightmarket.com for more info. And remember, if you're driving to Northern California, I need a ride too. Reporting from Arcadia, California for Eagle News, my name's Ariana Andrade. And my name is Seth Paras. And we are 1 with 25.
Great job, Seth and Aryan. Following little Seth's example, some of us grown-ups also tried asking random people if we could taste their food. The results were not quite the same. Well, that is today's Eagle News Washington, D.C. Weekend Edition. Join us again next week for stories from our bureaus across the nation and around the globe. Visit our websites at eaglenews.ph and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenewsph. Thank you for watching. I'm Alan Basoyahe. I'm one with 25.